Bullony Basketball.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. Here today with one of my guys making another appearance on the channel, Romp 2.0. How's it going? Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. Here today with one of the biggest Laker fans I know, Reliable Rants. How's it going?
What's up, man? I'm excited to talk some hoops with you.
Going well, man. How are you doing?
You know, I've had you on for many seasons now, like no other, and this one is going to be a great one because we're starting with your team, the Philadelphia 76ers, and we're just going to be talking about, for one, favorite teams, where they stand right now, with yours being the Los Angeles Lakers in that like 5th or 6th range in the Eastern Conference. Are you liking what you're seeing so far from your team, or I guess like what's the Sixers fan, inside scoop of this team look like? Guys are up there top 4 in the West. How would you assess like the start of the year so far?
I feel like heading into the season, there wasn't much expectation. It was kind of like we don't really know what's going to happen because last year was so bad. And it's kind of hard to be worse than last year. It feels really positive right now in Sixers land, I would say. Obviously, you still got Paul George and Joel Embiid. Those are negative assets, but Paul George playing the best basketball of his Sixers career, not a high bar by any means, but when he's been on the court, the Sixers have the second best defense, only behind the Thunder, and you can just tell his impact defensively. And then he had a couple games against Milwaukee. Down the stretch, he took them home. And then, of course, just against Atlanta, 35 points. I mean, his scoring is the best it's been for Philly, and his three-point shooting really has changed because last year he shot 35%. This year he's up to 43%. That's a big difference offensively. Embiid, he's kind of just like, he turned back the clock against Indiana, but his defense, his rebounding is really bad. But there are signs that there is still something in there. So it's just about getting Maxey, Embiid, and Paul George on the court together and them actually developing chemistry, because right now it kind of feels like the team is good but not great. And Maxey's just been wonderful, obviously. But yeah, I think the ceiling for this team is maybe like an Atlanta Hawks run when they upset us and they made the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, I feel like that's the ceiling right now. There's no like championship hopes if we're being realistic, but they do play hard. VJ's been great. Quentin Grimes has been great for what he is. Dominic Barlow's awesome. Our two-way players are crazy, to be honest. Jabari Walker and Dominic Barlow, their impact is wild. And there's been a lot of injuries. So considering where they're at with all the injuries, you got to feel good.
I'd give it probably like I'd say quality of basketball, like B+, but like fun level, like A+, to be honest. Like I understood how Mavericks fans got at the Luka trade, right? But now, like, watching Luka play as a fan, like, I almost cry sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. Watching Luka and AR and Romp play together, it's like probably the most fun I've had as a Lakers fan. That said, I don't think this team can win a championship. I don't think we could beat the Thunder, simply because of the fact that our production is too predicated off of individual production. So, like, if one of either Luka, AR, or LeBron doesn't have a great game, then it jeopardizes us losing like a lot more than, say, a Thunder team would, because even though Shea's their guy, they have so many different pieces and they feel like more of a team than us. And JJ Redick, I truly believe is the next Pat Riley. I think he's the next generational head coach in the NBA. So like, there's a lot to be excited for, and we're definitely going to finish as a top 3 seed in the West. I assume we could make it to the Western Conference Finals. I don't think there's many teams that could beat us in a 7-game series. But in terms of championship, like unbiasedly, I don't know if I could really say we could get to that level. But yeah, I've had absolutely no issues with this team. I love it. I love watching this team. I've had the most fun I've ever had watching this team. So
especially with this team, you guys got off to the same start as my Chicago Bulls, but you guys actually like stayed afloat. I think that, as you were mentioning, like some of those other guys as well, Embiid's rebounding might be a little bit of a concern. Also, I even checked the other day. It's kind of surprising to me. I think Paul George is like ranked 7th all time in steals per game for the Sixers franchise, which it doesn't really seem like that. But he's still up there. And then I think this is established now, like, okay, this is Tyrese Maxey's team. And I know he's missed a lot of the games like recently, but he's just a guy who he could run like 110% pretty much. He'll give you, that's not what I was going for, but you know what I mean. Like I
get it.
Yeah. And then you mentioned like some of these other guys like Dominic Barlow. I think even like Adam Bona, like earlier in the year, like these are guys who could help out on at least the defensive end. I think you guys are like what, top, you might be ranked number 1, but I think you're like top 3 in the league in blocks per game or something.
Yeah.
So I mean, like that rim protection's huge, especially for a guy like Embiid who's coming off it like another year that was maybe injury riddled and maybe he's in and out of the lineup. I still think he needs to, get a little bit closer to his former self on that end too. Same thing with some of these other guys like Paul George and stuff like that. I think Drummond continuing to be a force there, but his rebounding, he's always going to have that. I think Trenton Watford has been a blessing in disguise too. Someone even compared him. They said like was it Embiid maybe that said it, like he plays a lot like Ben Simmons.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so
after that triple double.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, like on a day-to-day basis, you're probably not going to get that from him. But if you can get those flashes from him, that's only going to help, and it's going to help to the depth of this team. And I know we're going to talk about the East more in a bit, but I think that the one thing right now is just how unpredictable it is because of teams like the Cavs and the Knicks, who were like the top 2 maybe last year that came back this year. And even though like your Sixers didn't have a great season last year, I think a lot of people are like, well, they'll definitely be a playoff team because of Tatum's injury and Halliburton's injury and Dame leaving the Bucks and everything, and now like they're in a position where it's like they're still hanging afloat, like you said, positive vibes, and I think that they could even make some extra noise, especially if some of these other guys like VJ Edgecombe and stuff like start stepping up a little bit. He had a great like first couple games. I think he slowed down a bit, but if he can like get back on the up curve there, definitely the star power for this team. And I was even talking with some of my other guys, like I think Lakers Corner and my friend Price, like even though like some of the guys, the role players like DeAndre Ayton started the year off well. I think Jackson Hayes playing alongside a guy like Luka, that's really helped him as well. Rui looks like a formidable 4th option on this team. And you just have like a bunch of guys who are playing the right way. I think the only one maybe who's consistently still struggling there is Gabe Vincent, who's received a lot of slack, in recent years from you guys. But, I'm just looking at this team. You mentioned the coaching with JJ Redick. He's definitely helped, I think, instill a different drive in this team than maybe Darvin Ham did before, where he's like more so laid back and everything. Pat Riley comparisons, I don't know if I want to go that far yet. Looking at this team, I think that it's hard to fully assess it because we've only seen LeBron for a handful of games so far, and once he gets back, maybe is he going to be that second option? Because I think the first couple of games it looked like, well, LeBron is definitely not like going to be that guy this year, but now he's started to like play like he was last year. Now it looks like, okay, Luka's number 1, right, LeBron might be number 2, and maybe Austin Reeves moves into that number 3 role. But Austin Reeves like a superstar. If he is moved to that 3rd option, he's playing like a superstar 3rd option if that's the case. But I still think it's a lot of different ways that they could go here, and I think Luka is playing like arguably the best offense player in the league this year.
So VJ started off really hot, but Nick Nurse is also playing him like 40 minutes. And I don't think VJ was ready for that because college, different story than the NBA. And then he got a couple games off for like a calf injury. They were being like super cautious because of, the history with calves now, Tyrese Halliburton and all that. And then since he's come back, I mean, his scoring has been up. He had a crazy game against Atlanta. Indiana, he got overshadowed by both Paul George and Joel Embiid, but he was huge. I mean, VJ he's just a winning player. It kind of reminds me of like a supercharged Alex Caruso. Of course, he has way more offensive upside. Just his confidence is crazy to me. Like against Atlanta, he missed like 5 threes in a row, and then he pulls up in transition out of nowhere, makes a 3. Like for what people described him as, like they said his handle was terrible, which like it's inconsistent. His 3-point shot is a question mark. Like he's shooting 38% on 5 threes per game, and he has so much offensive responsibility for like more than we expected. Like I give Nick Nurse a lot of credit for just like letting him loose and letting him, play through his mistakes, because there is games where he'll miss like 5 shots in a row, but he just keeps going at it. And that's what's really impressive to me. Like he just constantly is attacking. And against Indiana, he had like 20 plus points, couple assists, but he was also picking up Andrew Nembhard at like half court. His pickup point all game long was like really aggressive. And he was rebounding it back. He just does everything. It's crazy.
The thing on top of that is, two of the other guys that are playing key minutes for you. I think you've been a little up and down at times on Kelly Oubre. Sometimes he's had his moments, sometimes he's had his bad moments. But I feel like just in whole for the season, he hasn't played that bad. And I feel like Quentin Grimes as well, like being one of the premier shooters on the team, one of the guys who I feel like he's won you guys a lot of games at the end.
Yeah.
So I mean, like just having other options like that too. I'm sure down the stretch of games, for the rest of this season and the playoffs as well, like the ball's going to be probably in Tyrese Maxey's hands, but it's like you could go to him, you could go to Joel Embiid, you could go to Quentin Grimes on a coming off a curl for a three. You could even go to Paul George. Like I think that the fact that Paul George might be like the fourth or fifth option in some of those scenarios is a good thing, because in most other teams he's been on, he's either been the first option or the second option. And I know he's obviously like, of course not the Paul George of old, but if he can even be 85 to 90% of that, and you got all these other guys playing this well, along with the depth behind him, it's hard to say that there would be a team that could beat him in the East.
Yeah, I don't think there's any way. Like Austin's gonna stay in the number 2 option. Like the reason, not the only reason, but Austin's been out the last 4 games. So yeah, I do see LeBron like moving more into a spot up shooter, 10 assists per game role, and getting open looks for Luka and AR, because I feel like undoubtedly Luka and AR are our 2 best options offensively. The other like biggest issue I have with this team is defensively. Like I feel like ultimately that's going to be the reason we won't win a championship. Just because like if you just look at the roster, we have Luka, who's not a good defender. We have Austin Reeves, who is our primary defender on offense, like in the starting lineup. We have LeBron, who we can't rely on putting 100% on defense. And then we have Rui, who can't really move laterally well. So it's like we really don't have a great defensive team. And sure, we have guys like Marcus Smart and Vanderbilt, but we need more guys like that. We need more guys who could defend, because the team is so good offensively, but like the offensive players are just not great on defense that we have. Like the best offensive players we have cannot defend. And that's the difference. Not to keep comparing it to the Thunder, but every offensive player on the Thunder they're also very good as a defender. So yeah, I'd say that's also a big point I wanted to bring up, because yeah, I mean, we've had teams drop 140, 135 on us. The Jazz dropped 135 on us the other day. Like, I just don't think that's sustainable.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair too. That is one of the things that I will say, because, of all the champions in this decade, I think every one of them, except maybe the Nuggets, were a top 10 offense and defense in the league. And you guys are up there in offense, but defensively, I think you guys are like right around the middle of the pack. I think last time I checked, you were like 16th maybe, or maybe 17th, which is like, better than league, or not better than league average actually, but it's like right around the league average. But you want to get maybe in that top 10 category. So it's like, okay, like even if we don't win the defensive battle with a team like OKC, or maybe looking at a team like Houston, who you could be playing in the first or second round too, like you want to at least have enough of a better offense to combat that. And you guys have been, I think last time I checked, you were second in offense too. So like, and that's also with guys being out. Austin Reeves has been out the last couple games. Luka missed games earlier in the year, and then LeBron's missed up until like just about the last handful of games himself. So I think if you get all these guys playing together, that's kind of the only thing I wanted to say too, like just about the Austin Reeves thing, is like I do agree. I think he should be the second option for this season and moving forward. But also like with LeBron playing right now and Austin Reeves being out, is that going to maybe change the tendencies in a way where it's like LeBron is more adjusted to being the second option, and then now he has to move back down to the third option when Austin Reeves comes back? And that's kind of the one thing, because I think that when LeBron came back from his injury the first time and Austin was already playing like that number 2, like LeBron didn't really get a chance to establish that probably until Austin Reeves started missing some of these games. That's kind of just like my thing. It's like the other way around with Austin Reeves coming in.
I really don't think that's gonna be a problem at all. I think like whenever the conversation about like if LeBron can adjust to certain roles or to certain players, I think he can. And at this point, he enjoys deferring to them. Yeah. Like you could see he enjoys deferring. And I really think he has accepted that Austin Reeves is a more efficient offensive player who could score on all 3 levels more efficiently at this point in his career. And to preserve his energy, and to help him like be more efficient. Like LeBron enjoys that. He enjoys deferring to them and just letting them cook.
I mean, with the way Maxi's playing, I mean, no one expected this type of jump. 7.2 assists per game, only 2.7 turnovers. He's averaging 31 points per game. It's insane how good. And I've always been high on Maxi, but he's playing like a top 10 player in the league, and that gives the Sixers a chance against anyone, especially if Embiid and Paul George can stay on the court a little bit. I think that's the key for the Sixers. Just get everyone on the court. And that's the biggest if, obviously. Like, it's way easier. It's harder. You know, it's easy to say, but it seems impossible to actually get it done, because you watch them play, and even in games they lost, like against good teams, Atlanta, like there was moments where you're like, okay, we're working with something here. But you got to get everyone on the court. Even Oubre has missed a bunch of games. And like, imagine Oubre, Paul George, VJ, and Grimes defensively. I mean, you're going to have great defensive lineups. And the thing about the Sixers, they started out the season like one of the worst defenses in the league. All of a sudden, they're 12th in defensive rating just because they're starting to get their guys back. And Embiid, even though he can't really jump anymore, he still helps defensively because he's just a big body. So it's like, they have a chance. But now they have to get on the court and like develop chemistry so they can beat the better teams, because against above 500 competition this year, 4-10, that's not good enough. But if you look at those games, they're all close down to the wire. That easily could be different. And I think it's because like the Sixers just don't have that chemistry. You see some games with Maxey and Embiid, they're like, okay, are you the guy? I'm the guy. Like, even though they have chemistry in the past, it seems like this season, since Embiid's like way behind what he was, like it just seems like there's a learning curve that they need to get over. But the only way they're going to get over that is playing together. But it just seems like that's never going to happen.
And I mean, a lot of those losses, I will say, it just feels like the team can get it done. Like, that's one thing that I think in previous years for the Sixers, whether they were playing Boston in the playoffs some of those years, or, I'm not to mention the Hawks series, but in 2021, that one too, it's like you would kind of just see whether it's certain factors or certain players or coaching, you just felt like, well, things are looking grim, and I feel like they're just going to like let it slip away. Whereas I think this team, even though like they've lost some of those close games, like you said, I do feel like in most of those scenarios, I feel confident, like, okay, they're going to like get a good look here and they'll probably execute. And sometimes they just haven't. But that's like the one difference I would say about maybe this Sixers team compared to like some of the previous years.
I feel like also they allow athletic players to go off on them. Like Anthony Black had a crazy game against the Sixers. Dyson Daniels, who's been horrific offensively this year, had his best game against the Sixers. Like, those types of players just give them so much trouble for whatever reason. So I feel like if they get the right matchup, maybe avoid some of those athletic teams, like, and maybe they can make a run. I'm hoping like an Atlanta Hawks upset, like they upset us, but this time we're the team that can upset somebody.
And I think even a couple other guys in this team, like I think Jake LaRavia in some of those games when, before LeBron was playing, like he played like he could be a guy that comes off the bench and gives you like a solid 15-point outing or 20-point outing. I think the one game he had like 27 where Anthony Edwards like, don't even know who that is. You know what I mean? Like he's like, that's what
yeah.
And like even, Vanderbilt, like the fact that he's actually like playing a little bit more consistently now, like that's a good thing, because it feels like the last 3 years he's been in and out ever since the Denver series in 2023 in the conference finals. Feels like he just hasn't really been playing like at a consistent level. He's just been injured and everything. But yeah, I still think like, this team, I know you mentioned like conference finals, OKC is maybe the biggest thing. I would probably say still OKC and Denver as the two teams ahead of them. Everything else could be fair game. I think the Rockets have definitely a better defense and maybe a scary defense. But offensively, they have their struggles. It seems like sometimes it's just KD and Şengün trying to work their magic. And then the Spurs, they have a lot of athleticism. They'll run up and down the floor, defensive versatility even, but they're also a really young team. We've never seen them in a...
I'm terrified of the Spurs. I'm so terrified of the Spurs. I think the Spurs could I'm terrified of the Spurs. I think they're literally like, they're a top 3 team in the NBA, I'd say. Like, not...
Really?
not looking at standings, just looking at their roster. Like, it's absolutely unreal. They're easily the most athletic team in the NBA, and like all of their young players are all of like the best young players in the NBA. It's like it's just like I'm really terrified of them. Also because of the fact they beat us without Wemby in the NBA Cup.
Yeah, I think though that's the beauty of having young teams. It's like, I mean, you've seen it with OKC, like on a nightly basis. Like sometimes they just seem too quick or too much like stamina through the whole game to play at that level, whereas other teams might wear out as time goes on. The Spurs have that too. So that's why I think it could be a matchup with OKC, but they could also match up with LA because they have, you know, length and quickness as well. They could match 100%. Up with Denver, like, you know, so it's going to be interesting, but I think you guys, like, I would say OKC and I would say Denver's up there too, just because they're only a couple games back of OKC. Almost all of Denver's losses have been the same way, and those are without guys. Like, you could argue like they could only have like 2 losses right now, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Denver's also scary as well. I just felt like that was a given. That's why I mentioned the Spurs. Mm-hmm. I mean, Denver obviously has had our number in the playoffs every single year.
I think also, I know he's been hurt as well. He hasn't really looked as great this year, but last year when you guys were rough, you know, he was maybe the only reason to be excited. And of course, like Maxey, but I feel like Maxey had a lot of injuries too. It's Jared McCain. And so, like, I guess, like, what do you think about the whole Jared McCain thing this season? He hasn't looked great, but last season he was phenomenal. Maybe on track to win Rookie of the Year if he didn't get hurt too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving up on him. He's had bad injuries, and he also had like a finger injury that no one really talks about that might be affecting his shot. I don't think the Sixers are using him. Like, Nick Nurse is caught in a tough position. They have so many guards. They're in every game. So, like, if McCain has a bad stretch offensively, like, there's no reason to go back to him because, you know, he's not great defensively. And I think his confidence is kind of dropping down. I just think physically he's not there yet. And with where the Sixers are, they can't just, like, play him to play him. But at Duke, he did start off slow and then gradually got better and better. So hopefully, I just think like having him there as like a wild card is still very, very useful because there's been games he's kind of cooking against bad teams, like against Brooklyn. He closed the game and he caught fire. So there's still some juice in there, but he's definitely not where he was as a rookie. And I think it's mostly because of the injury. He's just not moving as quickly. His handle is like a mess right now. He loses his dribble. He's not creating separation as much. And like a lot of people compared him to Steph Curry because, you know, Sixers fans being overly optimistic. Like when he moves off ball, it's not as quick as it was. He's not moving as much off the ball. So there's just a lot of little things going on with him. Like, I'm not giving up on him. I wouldn't trade him. I don't think there's a reason to trade him now because his value is probably like, I mean, he got injured as a rookie. He only played like 15 games. So like, I don't think the league is as high on him as Sixers fans are. And like right now, the league's probably looking at him like, oh, it might have been a fluke. So just stick with him. And hopefully during the playoffs, he has a game where like a TJ McConnell, he could just come off the bench, score 15, change the game. I mean, we never really had that. So I think just having that option is good.
I think that with the sample size being so small last year and that like we're already, I just checked, he played 23 games last year, 16 this year. So he's almost even at that mark of like, you know, which one is the real Jared McCain essentially. I do think that in a way, like you said, the wild card ability, I think that could be huge. And I do think that with confidence, he can actually, you know, provide in those scenarios. I think it's similar to me of, I mean, he hasn't played anything like this player, but I think just in terms of like a guy coming in that's maybe not expected to do much and then he could change the game. I kind of think of like Dante Exum on the Mavericks when they made the finals run, and it's like people are just like, it's Dante Exum, I'm like, whatever. And then he came in and actually was huge to win them some games that got him there. So I mean, it could be just like that. And then of course, I mean, another one I know Nick Nurse talked about it the other day, but I know Justin Edwards has had like a little bit up and down too, and last year he was big as well. Maybe part of that could just be that he was getting starter minutes a lot last year because you guys, you know, were not a great team, and this year he's just, you know, gonna have to revert into that role. But yeah,
I think this is the first time where I look at the trade deadline and I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of set on this team because like I don't want to give up any assets to go all in because like Joel Embiid, Paul George, like, yeah, we have a chance to do something, but like I'm not trying to give up that Clippers pick because I don't know what this team is. Kind of just ride this year out. They have enough pieces to make a fluke type run, in my opinion. So it's kind of like, it's in a weird spot for me because usually I'm like looking at the trade machine and I'm like, I want to do this, I want to do that. But this year I'm kind of like, I don't know. I like this team. I feel like we have all the pieces. It's just about getting them in the right spots and flowing at the right time because that's never happened for the Sixers, you know. In the playoffs, they usually stumble.
One of these years, hopefully, they can break through. Could even be this year.
The good thing about the Sixers is we actually have a future now. Before, we didn't have a future. So you got VJ and Tyrese Maxey to look forward to. And maybe McCain, you know.
The West is so damn good. It's just like the NBA is just so good. Like, there's just so many good teams that like you can make an argument for any of like the top 6 or 7 teams in the West that they could go head to head with us, I'd say.
Yeah, definitely. Even like the Timberwolves have been playing well lately. The Suns are still hanging in there.
The Timberwolves beat us last year. They destroyed us last year.
How about we progress here, talk about some players that we like, 2026, just getting started, really. I think one NBA player that we think maybe deserves more respect in 2026. So this could be a current player, it could be a former player, but I want to know just who you think deserves more respect, and I know you'll have something else to add here as well.
I was going to say Jeremiah Fears.
Okay.
I'm kind of biased because I really loved him in college at Oklahoma. But I feel like this rookie class is so damn good that like the B tier players maybe aren't getting as much respect. And I do think Fears is just having a great season. I mean, he's getting all of the run. And yes, you could argue they're dead stats because he's playing for the Pelicans. But he's averaging 15 3 assists, a steal and a half. And he's shooting above average from 3 and 45% from the field, which are good splits for a rookie. And a lot of the times, like players who have his archetype, just get to the rim, like Rob Dillingham type player, Bones Highland type player. They shoot terrible percentages from the field. So like the reason I feel like Jeremiah Fears is the real deal is because he's like one of those shifty players who chucks, but he's shooting efficiently as a rookie. So that is like a telltale sign to me that he's the real deal. He's just been hooping. He's got every archetype. He's got every trait you really want in like a star score first point guard, I'd say. I mean, he's a great 3-point shooter and he can score on all 3 levels. And I just think no one's talking about him because just this rookie class is so damn good. And I really loved him coming out of college.
Yeah, and maybe also part of it is just because of the team he's on, like with the Pelicans.
Yeah, the Pelicans.
They're just down there, but that is good because it gives him an opportunity to like, hey, now I have this starting spot. I'm kind of the guy with the ball in my hands the most, especially the games because like even Zion has missed some time too. So it's like that only helps him to like, hey, first option, second option nights. How are you gonna look? And then once this team becomes a little bit better, or once he finds himself on a better team, whatever happens first, like he's going to actually like know what it takes to be in those situations where you're finding double teams and you're working around screens.
I want to go with Jaylen Brown because I feel like everyone's like, oh, he can't be a number 1 option. And the Celtics aren't going to win the championship without Tatum. But, I mean, the Celtics have, been great. 29 points for him, 50%. He's turned into one of the best mid-range shooters in the league, which is pretty crazy to think about. He's still not, he's still turning the ball over. But I just think he's done a wonderful job, and I really respect his work ethic. Like, I'm a Sixers fan, but, like, I can't even hate on Jaylen Brown because I just think he's always, like, since he came into the league, he's just such a different player, and he'll do whatever it takes to win. Like, I mean, in that finals, he was guarding Luka. He's just a two-way player that plays hard every night. I really respect Jaylen Brown. So that's the one guy. Also, I have another guy, Mitchell Robinson. I feel like what he did in the NBA Cup was crazy. I mean, he just rebounds everything, truly a game wrecker. And I think there's a lot of people who look at Knicks fans and because they really overvalue Mitchell Robinson, but like I get why they overvalue him because he can truly like just steal games for you. Kind of like Alex Caruso did during the Thunder run. Like he turned into their second most important player. I feel like Robinson can be like that. It's just like his flaws, free throw shooting. Also, I don't think he can play above 15 minutes without getting injured. So like it's easy to, complain about that, but he's still such an impactful role player off that bench. So those are my two players. I cheated.
No, I think those are definitely two good ones. I think just from the sense of Jaylen Brown, as you mentioned, this is a guy who was a Finals MVP, Eastern Conference Finals MVP, and I think most people thought before the year, like, okay, Boston's just going to throw in the towel. They're not going to be great. But and early on, it did kind of look like that. I think they lost like their first 3 or 4 games or something, and then Jaylen Brown just started turning it up a notch, and now he's like just south of 30 points a game. Like, he's proving he can be a number 1 option on a playoff team. And with the way the East is just so unpredictable right now, they do have guys who have experience that like maybe that could pay off, and it could lead him to get there as well. And that's like, I don't want to jump ahead or anything of that, but I think if that were to happen and they made a run to like the finals, we're going to start talking about Jaylen Brown in a different way. So I think that's a huge one. I think Mitchell Robinson as well. Like, if you look at a lot of the best teams in the league, like right now, they're really good at rebounding, and he is just one of those guys. It doesn't matter if you have 3 dudes on him or 4 dudes on him trying to box him out. Like, he just somehow manages to grab the ball. It's very similar to Andre Drummond on your guys' team. But this guy, he's a little bit younger. Yes, he is injury prone, but I think when he's out there, especially like a team like the Cavs, for instance, who is before the year expected to be number 1, they struggle when he plays. Like, especially Mobley and Allen, because they just don't have that rebounding intangible. So I think those are 2 really good ones. So I have 2. I just saw this reel where Steph Curry was asked like, who's the defender who gave you the most trouble in your career, and then Kobe Bryant said like the same thing, like the hardest guy that guarded me. And then Kevin Durant was asked about like, no one made it tough on you, and then Durant said, I think you made it most tough on me. The same guy, Tony Allen. I think Tony Allen as a defensive menace. I think people forget that he was an NBA champion as well, because he didn't start on those Celtics when they won with Pierce and Garnett and stuff. But he had a huge role there. He helped change the grit and grind culture in Memphis, and even got his jersey retired. So, and I think Jamal Crawford even added to that reel. He's like, he was such a good defender because he didn't care about, scoring at all. Like, he did not care. He was just like, I just want to stop you. And so his numbers will never stick out, but I think he was like a Hall of Fame level defender that just didn't get like the all-star appearances or anything. And it really makes you think like if some of those guys should get more recognition in the Hall of Fame conversation, because he's just that good of a defender. All of the top stars of this era giving him praise. I think that he deserves it. The other one I do want to say on here, though, a current player, is that just was thinking to me, like, I feel like another guy like Dillon Brooks, like the way he's played with the Suns so far this year. I know you might not like him, but the guy's averaging like north of 20 points a game this year. He's still playing great defense, and people can say what they want about Dillon Brooks. He might be like a little like clown-ish at times, and he might be a little dumb, but he definitely helps like work as a motivator and a guy that like really brings out the best in their team. Because once he left Memphis just fell apart. That team was a top 2 seed for multiple years. He came to Houston. They went from a non-playoff team to a top 2 seed themselves, and now they're holding it true, but it's like they have Kevin Durant. This is just with a guy who's not expected to be a superstar in Dillon Brooks. And you see with the Suns right now, this is a team people thought was for sure a lottery team below the play-in, and right now they're top 8. I think they're in the 7th seed. So this is definitely a guy he's a culture changer, as much as people might not want to say it. He won't be an all-star this year, but I think he should get some recognition, like name recognition, as like, hey, he was close to making it.
The Basketball Hall of Fame is not like the Baseball Hall of Fame, where baseball's really hard to get in. I feel like basketball is just like they'll let anyone in, to be honest. So like they should consider it.
Yeah. And I don't know if he ever will get in, but I just think that, as we're approaching 2026, hopefully people do not, forget about Tony Allen and his defensive prowess. I think that Jalen Tyson, who's been
he's nice.
He's been really good for them. Probably one of their only supporting cast players who's actually played above standard so far this year, with like Merrill out and Max Strus out. He's a high energy guy, which I feel like a team like that really needs, because, they don't have Tristan Thompson in the locker room right now, and, Ty Ty Jerome, even though he had his playoff woes last year, like he would definitely get the team energized too. So I think having a guy like Jalen Tyson like right by there, like that makes it a little bit better. And a guy who can also on any given night give you 20 or 25 points a night while shooting efficiently from the field, from three. He can, score on every different facet. So, and he plays hard defense. I think he needs to get a little bit stronger still, but I think that all in all, like without him, like the Cavs have already had a rough start to the year, but without him, it would probably be even lower,
Yeah, that's a good one. Also, I want to say the Eastern Conference deserves a bit more respect, in my opinion. I think it's been really competitive this year. I think you could make an argument because OKC is so dominant, the Western Conference at the top with Denver and OKC, definitely above the East. But in terms of depth, I think the East is a bit better. And I think if the Rockets were in the East and the T-Wolves were in the East, they would get disrespected. I feel like those types of flawed teams get the benefit of the doubt, even the Lakers, because they're in the West. And I feel like most of the media, like the popular guys, they cover the West more than the East. It feels like the East isn't as represented as the West in the media for whatever reason that is. Yeah, I think mediocre or Midwest teams like OKC and Denver to me are the real contenders in the West, and then everyone else is kind of just like, yeah, they can be, but do you really believe in them? I feel like those types of teams, like the Lakers, even the Spurs, like they're super young. They definitely have potential, but I don't think they're there quite yet. I feel like those types of teams get overrated in the West. Meanwhile, you look at Orlando, even Boston, Detroit, like is heavily disrespected in the mainstream media. I don't think Detroit's going to win the East, but I think they should be respected a bit more and on the same level, like talking wise, as a Houston, as a Minnesota, because Houston is very flawed. Like, I just don't believe in them because they have an elementary school level offense and they just depend on offensive rebounding. So pretty much every series they play in is going to go 6 to 7 games and it's going to be a dogfight. So I don't know. I've just noticed that the last 2 years now, like there's obviously in the past, like the West has been way better than the East. But I think recently, like even last year, Indiana gave OKC their best shot outside of Denver. And that was with Halliburton getting injured towards the end of that series. And if he was healthy, they probably win that series, if we're being honest.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think that people just think like the finals are going to happen and it's just going to be super easy. Like once you get to the finals, whether it's OKC there again or if it's Denver or something like that, like that team that's on the other side is not just going to roll over. You know what I mean? And I think people thought that with the Pacers, and then they won the first game and everyone's like, yeah, well, Thunder are just going to like reverse sweep them. Like, no, like the Pacers got in a situation where they had them on the brink of winning the championship, and then Tyrese Halliburton gets hurt. And I think that you could see that like the same way this year with a team like, whether Detroit or Orlando, maybe like some of the younger teams, but a team like Boston, a team like New York, a team like the Sixers, a team like the Cavs, a team like the Heat, like these are teams that have like veteran players that are in the playoff picture as well, that I think that they're also prepared for this moment, maybe the same way Indiana was last year. And as you mentioned too, like I think even teams as low as my Bulls and as low as like the Bucks in the standings, like if you look on the other side of the standings, like those same seeds usually have like worse records, they maybe play worse opponents. Like it's just maybe the high end talent is at this top in the West in terms of OKC and Denver, but I think that from 1 to like 10 or 11, the East definitely wins out with that.
I think he's like single-handedly like putting himself in the foot in terms of getting that recognition, because it's impossible to like view Dillon Brooks as the 20-point scorer that he is when he's literally just making a fool of himself every single game. No one's going to want to acknowledge his greatness, I guess, like his offensive ability when he's literally just being a clown. I hate Dillon Brooks so much, I'm not going to lie. That game against the Suns, like I almost wanted to break my TV. He had four plays that should have gotten technical fouls, and he got called for 2 of them. I hate Dillon. I mean, I agree that he's playing really well, and I agree that he like there's evidence-based facts that he's gone to teams and made them better. But I know for a fact that fan bases don't really like Dillon Brooks. Like Grizzlies fans did not like Dillon Brooks. And I don't know how Suns fans feel, but yeah, I mean, I personally just really dislike him, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I think everyone has one of those guys who are, one of their favorite players on their team, but every other team would say, I do not like this player. As a Bulls fan, one of them would probably be Joakim Noah, just because, I liked him. He brought the energy. He really helped, I think, change the way that we looked at every game by game, and we were the best record in the league back-to-back years because of it. And this guy was all defensive first team, defensive player of the year, first team All-NBA, and everyone else in the meantime was like, oh, we hate Joakim Noah, he's so annoying. I think Draymond's maybe another one, but I think also, just looking at what Dillon Brooks has done, most of those guys, they did it on one team and they did it exceptionally well. Dillon Brooks, he's done it for the Grizzlies, he's done it for the Rockets, and he's doing it right now for the Suns, where I think he's helping to maximize the culture on this team, because he's really one of the vocal leaders, I'd say, too. And I do agree, that stuff definitely might be a little hard to watch. He definitely can be a little bit irritating at times, and he's had his low moments. I think his lowest moment, he said, was when they played you guys in the playoffs in 2023, and he was not good in that instance. But I don't think that these teams would also be as high as they are without him, and you've seen that with the Grizzlies, for example, is the biggest instance, because now they're just kind of an okay team, but as soon as they lost him, they fell out of the playoff picture.
Yeah, no, I could agree with that. I think he adds things to a team, and he also he definitely hurts his teams at times with his behavior. But I agree that he's a good player, and he could help change a culture of a team.
He adds fuel to the fire and sometimes lights his team on fire. That's probably probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, and I think we're in a spot where parity actually exists. It's pretty crazy. Every night there seems to be a neck and neck game. The only team I think that is really above the rest of the pack is Oklahoma City. And I think even them, I think they're going to start to get figured out a bit more as their dynasty run continues, because they still have major flaws. Some nights they just can't shoot the ball. So it's I don't know. I just think parity is crazy right now besides OKC.
Yeah. No, definitely. I think also, too, just a lot of times it feels late in games, they are very SGA reliant. And sometimes that things just go south. If he's not hitting shots or he's not getting his calls, I think that game against the Spurs in the in-season Final Four or whatever showed that a lot, because they weren't giving him those calls and they kind of just collapsed. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think definitely, the East and all these players that we mentioned should get more respect in 2026. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add, or you want to get into this minigame?
Yeah, minigame.
I'm going to give you 3 questions. Each one, you're going to have 60 seconds. You can just rattle off names. If you get anything wrong, it does not matter. There's no penalty for wrong answers. But 60 seconds to try and name me the top 10 players for that team in that stat all time. You'll get more points for the higher they rank, though. So the number 1 answer, if you get that, we'll give you 10 points, whereas the number 10 answer will only give you 1 point.
Sounds good.
And this is all time.
This is all time. First one, as is fitting, the Philadelphia 76ers, top 10 in franchise history in points per game. Go.
Joel Embiid, Charles Barkley, Wilt, Julius Erving. There's an old dude I'm forgetting. It's in my brain, but I just forget. No, he wasn't. I'm thinking about Maurice Cheeks. I don't think he's a scorer enough.
Got about 30 seconds. There's one guy who made the finals you haven't named yet.
Oh, Allen Iverson. What am I doing here? There's AI. Charles Barkley. He shouldn't be up there.
Yes, I think you said him already. 15 seconds.
Spencer Hawes.
5 seconds.
I got
3, 2, 1.
Yeah.
Okay, Allen Iverson, Julius Randle, Julius Erving. Let's go Mo Cheeks. Let's go Joel Embiid. Let's go with Tyrese, or not total points per game, right?
Yes.
Let's go Tyrese Maxey. Let's go Moses Malone. Let's go with...
Got about 30 seconds left.
Who else was balling back in the day for them? I'll just say Ben Simmons, even though I don't think that's right.
15 seconds. There's some old school ones on here still.
Oh, like maybe like Daryl Dawkins or something. Trying to think of other old Sixers. Yeah, I'll take that.
5 of the 10, but I will say you got the top 5 answers. So that'll definitely give you good pointage right there. In fact, that is, let's see, you got 10 plus 9 plus 8. That's 27. You got 40 points on that one. Respectable. The top 5 were Wilt, Allen Iverson, Embiid, Barkley, and Dr. J in that order. Number 6 was George McGinnis.
That's who I was thinking of, but I don't know his name.
Number 7 was Moses Malone.
Oh, that's a bad miss. That's a bad miss.
Number 8, this one's kind of recent, but I guess it could make sense to forget about him because he wasn't there that long. James Harden.
Oh, yeah.
Number 9 was Billy Cunningham, and number 10, actually, based on this season, it's boosted him up a little bit. Tyrese Maxey.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking past players, and I don't think of James Harden as a Sixer.
Yeah.
Even though he's James Harden, he played really well for us. Not trying to disrespect him, but I don't know. I just think of him as a Rocket.
So that gets you 28 points. So Iverson was the second answer, and B was the third answer. Number 1, you're gonna be kicking yourself. Wilt Chamberlain.
Oh yeah, I just forgot he played for the 76ers.
Number 4 as well. I was surprised he didn't say it. Charles Barkley.
Oh my God, yeah, that was a miss.
It was George McGinnis. 7 was Moses Malone. He did get. Number 8 might be surprising. Some people, I feel like, don't even think of him as a Sixer as much anymore, but he's a current player, James Harden.
Oh yeah, the Sixers are rotated. I was gonna say Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy's up there.
He's not up there, no.
Yeah.
And number 9 was Billy Cunningham, and number 10 was Tyrese Maxey. So he's just asserted himself.
Okay, I'm not like too mad. There's definitely Barkley and Will I missed, but
so the second one is the Phoenix Suns total assists. Go.
Steve Nash, Goran Dragic. Imagine. Oh man, Devin Booker, probably. He's got to be up there because he plays so much. Charles Barkley, probably. Isaiah Thomas, no. Man,
You got about 30 seconds.
I wish I had Suns Geek on the line, but unfortunately I don't. He would know all of this.
You got 15
I
seconds.
feel like in my brain, I have all the bad Suns teams. Like the Nash Suns, just like I was too young. I wasn't that.
5 seconds. Who's a point guard who played on the Nets too?
In the Nets, Jason Kidd.
That is time. You got it right at the end.
okay. Steve Nash, Devin Booker, Alvin Adams. What a crazy pull. Let's see. Let's go back to like 80s, 90s. I'll just put Chris Paul up there. I'll put I'll just say the current ones. Kevin Durant. Oh my God, my mind is killing me. 90s Suns. There's so many 90s Suns players I should get. I'll say Charles Barkley, even though that's not right. Dude, my brain.
15 seconds. There are a few 90s Suns.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the 90s. Oh my God. Amari Stoudemire. Dude, I'm definitely tripping on this one.
Okay, that is time. 22 points for that round. So even though it wasn't as many as your Sixers, you still got a decent score there.
Was Devin Booker on?
Nash was number 1, Devin Booker was number 4, and Jason Kidd was number 6. Some of the other ones were some of the old school players: Kevin Johnson, Alvin Adams, Walter Davis. Jeff Hornacek was another one on there. And then even Paul Westphal. The last two might have been a little bit harder to get because they're a little more obscure. Dick Van Arsdale and Jay Humphries.
Yeah.
So, but.
I was just thinking of Eric Bledsoe and Gerald Green, like that era of the Suns. I was like, yeah, they're not on it.
I was
Archie
thinking maybe
Goodwin,
like Kevin Johnson or Jeff Hornacek, but yeah, some of those were tough.
That was bad, bro. My mind just blinked on the sun.
Still got a decent amount. You got Steve Nash at number 1, so that is 10 points. You got Devin Booker was number 4, so that is another 7 points, and you got another 8 points for Alvin Adams. That was a good pull right there. So
yeah, I should have gotten. Yeah, I know there's gonna be so many names that I'm tripping about.
The one you were probably trying to figure out the name for there was Kevin Johnson. He was number 2.
Yeah, was Sean Marion on that list?
He was actually not on this list. Everyone else was played before 2000 pretty much. You had Walter Davis, you had Jason Kidd, Jeff Hornacek, Paul Westphal, Dick Van Arsdale, and the last one would have been a little hard to get, Jay Humphries.
Okay, yeah, honestly, I'm not too mad at that. Like, all those players are like niche to me. Besides Jason Kidd, obviously. But.
I was thinking like maybe Jason Kidd, Kevin Johnson. You could get I don't know, even maybe Jeff.
I could have gotten Kevin Johnson,
I guess, but Jeff Hornacek was a.
I just thought of him as a shooter. Like I never thought of him as like a.
That's fair. So this one is the LA Lakers.
Let's go.
And this one is top 10 in their franchise history, and the stat here is total rebounds. Go.
Magic Johnson, Wilt, I wonder if Shaq, Pau Gasol. I wonder if Kobe's on there. Kobe might be on there.
Got about 30 seconds. Some Magic teammates on here too, I will say.
I'm drawing blanks over here. It's a struggle. It's a struggle. Lamar Odom. He's definitely not on there. I wonder if there's a bunch of old school players that I'm missing. I know, but I just can't think of them. They're in my brain, but they're not coming out of my brain, you know?
3.
It's tough over here.
1.
Okay. Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, Wilt Chamberlain. Let's go. What era should I go to now? I'm trying to think of like old. Let's go Jamal Wilkes. Let's go James Worthy. Let's go other center. Pau Gasol. Let's go Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Let's do Horace Grant. That's not going to be on there.
You think it's some guys that played for a long time with the team too, because they'll be on here.
Yeah. Robert Ory. Let's go. I said James Worthy. 90s.
You got about 10 seconds. Who's your favorite player?
Chris Kaman. What? What?
Who's your favorite player?
Oh, Kobe.
2.
I just didn't think it was getting boards.
Okay. You got the number 3 answer, the number 4 answer.
There you go.
The number 5 answer, and the number 6 answer. So that is a total of 26. So I'll tell you your final score in a second. So you got Kobe, Magic, Wilt, and Shaq, 3 through 6. The top 2 were Elgin Baylor and Kareem.
Ooh, Kareem's a bad miss.
I think maybe you thought
Kareem's
like you said
really
it or something already.
Yeah. Kareem's.
Yeah.
That's a bad miss.
The other ones, some of these would have been a little hard. Vern Mickelson, AC Green, maybe. Rudy LaRusso, and number 10. I thought maybe you'd get number 10, Jerry West. It's like you got to get Kobe.
Dude, I just didn't. For some reason, I think rebounds. I just think big man.
Yeah, that is fair. But also, it's like it is total rebounds. So it's like
you're right. Yeah.
But you still, okay, so you got Kobe there. You got Kareem. Those are the second and third answers. Kareem was second, Kobe was third. So that is 17 points right there. You also got Wilt was the number 5 answer. So that gives you 6 more points. And you got 5 more points for Shaq. So that is 28 for that one.
Damn, I didn't get any of the other like niche ones.
No. Even though those were good guesses, Horace Grant and James Worthy and stuff, like Jamal Wilkes was a really good guess, but none of them were on there, unfortunately.
What were the answers?
So some of the niche ones went from 7 to 9 category, or 7 to 9 area. It was Vern Mickelson, AC Green, and Rudy LaRusso. So
AC Green, I was probably the one I would get out of them, but I wasn't expecting myself to get Rudy LaRusso.
Number 10 was, I thought you'd get him, Jerry West. You know,
dude, I just didn't rebounds. Like, you're right. I should have just thought of every type.
I thought maybe you would get number 4 because even though he wasn't a big, he had a lot of triple doubles in his day. Magic Johnson.
Yeah, that's just a miss.
Number 1 actually might seem like even less of a miss than Magic, but he actually rebounded a lot. Elgin Baylor.
Yeah, that's another big miss. I mean, like,
yeah,
another big miss. Yeah,
but still, you got 28 points for that one. You got 25 for the one before that, and 28 before that. So you were pretty consistent around that 25 to 28 each one. But all in all, though, you still got 26 for that one. You got 22 for the second, and you got 40 for your own Sixers, which brings your total to 88 points.
Not
too
bad.
shabby. How's that feel?
Feels good.
Yeah, that is not a bad score. I will tell you, so far in the season, even though that's not the top score, you are definitely above, I would say, maybe a little bit more than half the pack.
Hey, that feels good. Damn, if I got Kareem,
Yeah, if you'd have got Kareem,
would
that
have been
would
up
have
there even more.
97 points.
Oh, that's a crucial miss.
That was tough.
Make or miss league.
But hey, at least you got the Jason Kidd one. That one, it seemed like it was tough at the end. Like it was.
I mean, that's ball don't lie. That's why I didn't get Kareem.
Ball don't lie. But anyways, so you are, yeah, like I said, 88 points, not bad. And
I feel like if we do this like 50 years later, I feel like I'll be really good because then you could ask me about today's NBA and I'll be like, yeah, I got the old guys now.
I think the biggest thing too is like the 3-pointers and stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because those ones are always, they're all going to be people from like now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point.
That brings your total to, hey, who was your favorite player?
Kobe. Oh, 81.
81 points. Yes.
Let's go.
That's pretty funny.
I mean, I don't know if that's good or bad, but
And that's actually crazy because I literally had no idea that was your score before. I said, who's your favorite player on there? And then you got Kobe as the last one. So that put you like right at 81. That's crazy.
oh, that's actually fire. That's fire.
But I guess I will tell you that is, even though it's not the highest score of the season, that is higher than a decent amount of scores. I think that is higher than, at the time I just recorded this, 11 people. So how's that feel?
I'll take it. Yeah, I'll take it. Is there like rounds of this, or is this just like a?
There might be another instance of this, you know, later on as the season progresses.
Okay.
But you know, I will say 81, definitely not a bad score. The lowest score of the season is 35, so that'll definitely like more than
God, I'm lucky I'm not there.
And then Romp also, I recorded his already. He got 88.
Okay.
He mostly made up ground on the Sixers one. You actually did better than him on the Suns and the Lakers, so he just did like substantially better on his Sixers. But
okay, that makes sense.
that was still a solid showing. You know, I feel like, you know, usually you always are like, oh man, I did so horrible on the minigame, but I feel like that was actually pretty good.
Yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, obviously there's ones I wish I got for the Lakers, but I mean, like this stuff has always been messing with my brain. So
yeah, but that I will say the Alvin Adams poll was a really good one too. And you even got some on the Sixers that Romp didn't get. Romp didn't get Moses Malone.
It's really,
and he didn't get Maxey either because I think he just wasn't thinking he was that high yet.
Yeah, I mean he's averaging like 30.
But anyways, you know, one way or another, you still showed up on your team, which is the most important thing. And I'm glad that he showed up for the show here. I think it was a pretty good one. You know, solid performance on the minigame. I think it was a good show. Glad we could talk about your Lake show Basketball, and really a lot of the Western Conference as well in there. And then, yeah, man, always a blast having you on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. I don't know if you have anything you want to add before we wrap it up.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for watching.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Anytime, of course. You guys will have to, check out my guy Romp. I'm sure a lot of you guys know him by now. And Sixers Talk with Romp as well. I'll have it both in the description below.
Nah, man. Stay blessed. Have a great day.
Yes, sir. Hopefully you guys, check out the description below. I'll have everyone's stuff there. But with that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.